Hey y'all, what's up? Johnny Glock here. So you know it's going to be a good one. And just to get out of the way, aka Steve-O, ShamWow guy, Steve Buscemi, a Hot Topic manager, that's another one. We'll just get those AKAs out of the way so all you haters out there can, well, not necessarily haters, but maybe you can make some meaningful comments instead of those ones. I'll get that out of the way for you. So anyway, today's topic is safety and triggers, and there's a lot of stuff going around right now about this, and so I figure, hey, I'm into both of those, so I'm going to do a video on it, and it is my due diligence, I think, to do a video on it, to explain some things that I really haven't heard explained as of yet, and add some scenarios for you to consider in this whole picture. So first of all, what everyone needs to understand is there is a huge difference in between safety checks and drop tests, or what you would call a safety test maybe. They're completely different things. Your gun has to pass the safety checks in order for it to pass drop tests. But if it doesn't pass the safety checks, it's considered an unsafe gun, point blank period, end of story. And I'm going to kind of paint a picture of why, and just, you know, we're gonna work on facts here. So first of all, you've seen this before. We've got to clear it down here. It's the safety checks, okay? So pulling the vertical extension forward, we're going to grab either side, the legs of the trigger, push back and see if the trigger safety tab is purchasing the frame and has a solid engagement and is fully operational. The answer is yes. Safety check number 1. Safety check number 2, with the trigger safety tab still engaged, we are going to check the drop safety. By doing that, you're going to push down on the cruciform and it should have very solid engagement on the drop shelf. That's safety check number 2. If it fails that, it's a unsafe gun. This has been the one that's been in question. Next is the firing pin safety. These are the 3 safeties of the Glock. Guys, remember, engagement is not a safety. It needs to be addressed, but it's not a safety, especially by Glock standards. So, firing pin safety, which is this right here. Now, a lot of guys say, hey, there's a noise, weird noise going on with my gun. There should be. So when you depress this, you can hear that the firing pin is free. And the job of the firing pin safety, when I reset it, is to keep the firing pin tip from extruding through the breech face. And right now, if I push forward on this, simulating the sear letting the striker go, or the firing pin go, you can see it's being blocked by the firing pin safety. If I depress the firing pin safety, do it this way, and push forward on this, you'll be able to see it's coming through the breech face. That's the design. So safety check number 3, firing pin safety, and that is completely functional, fully operational, and engaged. All right. So the mechanics of the Glock, if you put this back together and it's failing the drop safety, I mean the drop shelf check, it gets a little weird with the wording, you can still pass a drop test. And the reason for that is because the forward compression of the firing pin spring is causing the sear and the entire transfer bar to get pulled back up on to the drop shelf. Does that mean your gun's safe? Absolutely not. Okay. Now, the majority of times that we do drop tests or safety tests, we're taking our gun that we've spent our good hard-earned money on, and we're being kind of, you know, I've seen them on phone books. You know, you see the drops I do, they're 10 feet high on the concrete. I do that for a reason, especially if it's under a pound, you know. That still doesn't mean, you know, honestly, that the gun is safe, even though I know it's safe. I didn't take the time in a minute video on Instagram to show you the safety checks. It's just impossible to do that. But nonetheless, I know they're safe because I've already done all the safety checks to ensure that. So with this, it will drag it back up onto the shelf. But like I said, that does not mean that your gun is safe by any means. I want to paint a picture here so you can get an understanding of what I said. Like I said, most of these guns we spend a lot of money on. We're not going to do these crazy drop tests like I do. We're going to kind of be ginger about it. Second, there's the one where people will go up through the armor's backplate and kind of pry down. That'll pass, sometimes it won't. Sometimes it'll pass the safety test, sometimes it won't. So you're understanding it's the safety check that's the most important, first and foremost. And this brings me to the point of the picture that I'm trying to paint here. There's a lot of tolerances on these guns that are considered off tolerances, compounded tolerance. They factor into all this. So basically, let's look at it this way. We're gonna go factual. So I'm gonna weigh this gun. All right, and this usually happens. You see these amped up triggers in competition guns. So I'm using a competition gun as an example. So 1.7 ounces. That's what we're usually doing our drop tests with. But what people always forget, and I get it, is that this is not how the gun is dropped. Okay, since it's a competition gun, we're going to add a +6 magazine loaded with 158 grain and the weight of the base plate. That's 15.6 ounces, which is 0.4 ounces lighter than a pound. So basically we're looking at roughly a pound here. Add that to this. With these guns, you usually have, I don't know if you've ever seen them, competition guys know exactly what I'm talking about. There's the frame weights up here. And those are typically right about 6 ounces. Those are the ones you'll see them advertised always as 6 ounces. Next, you have the mag well, which always has an insert to it, and those inserts tend to be weighted. So you have the mag well with the insert, which roughly ends up being 3 ounces. Okay, so now with this whole gun, we are adding almost a little bit over 1.5 pounds to the inertia if it is dropped. That's a lot. Not to mention, when you do insert the magazine, you're changing the tolerance from the frame to the slide. You're opening up this gap a bit. So if you're already compromised, you're going to compromise it even more by opening that up. Last is the typical competition trigger setup, which is the recipe that everyone's been using forever. It's a 4-pound firing pin spring, compressional spring. It's a 6-pound trigger return spring, which is a torsion or a tension spring, and a 3.5-pound connector. Now, the job of the trigger return spring is to help assist the competitor pull the trigger back. It knocks some weight off it. So if we look at that ratio again, you have 4 pounds compressing going this way. You have 6 pounds tension coming this way. That's a 2-pound differential on the side of the trigger coming backwards that fires the gun. Not to mention, the radius of the transfer bar is sitting on an obtuse angle, so there's not much of a wall like on a 5.5 connector. You got a 3.5 connector, so you don't have that solid wall. Is everyone kind of following what I'm saying here? All right, when you're putting all this together and how important the safety check is opposed to the tests that we do. There's a word for that. It's called risk. And risk is a situation involving exposure to danger. That is the definition of risk. If your gun does not pass the safety checks, you are putting yourself at risk. You are putting everyone around you at risk. It is self-centered and immature. If you have ever been witness to a negligent discharge, and I hope you never do, it's devastating. I've been witness to a few, one which was fatal. It will change your perspective on safety, personal and safety of others for the rest of your life. So, like once again, these are guns we are talking about, people. You need to be diligent and responsible for what you are carrying and what you are doing here, and it has to be well thought. My job is really this full time. I got to think this stuff through and through and through and through when I'm building these trigger groups and putting them out there for the general public. They need to come out a certain way for me. So basically, check your weapons. You know what I mean? And don't rely on the fact that even though it's failing safety checks, that it's going to pass safety tests on any given day with different temperatures. I mean, look at the heights of the fall, the medium they're falling on. There's a lot of subjective and actual information that goes into this. So that's basically it, man. I just wanted to, felt with my due diligence to point some of this stuff out. You might have known, you might not have known, you might not have factored all this other stuff in, but that is the video for today. Johnny Glocks. You can check out my YouTube channel. It's full of safety stuff. It's called Johnny Glocks the Persona. And I do sell triggers. So it's www.johnnyglocks.com. But that's about it, man. You guys stay safe. Check your weapons. Be diligent. Stay frosty. Have a great day.